Welcome to Hard Time Sports. I'm Matthew Schneider. This topic is NFL week picks for week 4. Here are my picks. Let's start off with tonight's game between the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers. The reason why I'm going to take the Packers is because Aaron Rodgers, as a Green Bay Packer, owns the Chicago Bears. Yes, owns the Chicago Bears. He has destroyed them since he's played with them. That's why I'm taking the Packers over the Bears. Bears have nothing on Green Bay. Green Bay will beat the Bears easily. Now, let's go to Sunday's games. You have the New Orleans Saints at the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints to get to 2-2, and the Miami Dolphins will go to 1-2. I'm going to take the Saints because of Drew Brees and experience. Even though it's in Miami, I still think the Saints are going to beat Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler will throw a late interception because he's known for turnovers in his career. So I'm going to take the Saints over the Dolphins. Now, the next game you have the Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. I picked Houston to win the division before the season started. I'm kind of leaning towards Tennessee to win that division now. So I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to go into Houston and to beat Deshaun Watson and the Texans. I think the Titans of Tennessee with Marcus Mariota and their good running game and their decent defense will go to Houston and beat them. Now, the next game I'm going to pick is I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the Jets. The Jaguars blew out Baltimore last week, 44-7 in London, and I think it will continue as the Jacksonville Jaguars will beat the Jets. I don't know much about the Jets. I don't even know who's playing quarterback for the Jets. But I think the Jets will be destroyed by the Jaguars. Now let's go to the next game on Sunday. You have the Carolina Panthers at the New England Patriots. Cam Newton seems like he's on a 2-year hangover. He hasn't played good since the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. Last year, terrible season for Cam Newton. This year, starting off as a terrible season for Cam Newton, even though I think the Panthers are 2-1. I still think Cam Newton isn't playing very good football, and it's at New England. I think New England wins hands down, easily. Cam Newton throws more interceptions. Tom Brady throws a lot of touchdowns, and I think the Patriots will beat the Panthers. Let's go to the next game. You have the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Minnesota Vikings will win because it's at home. They've played good at home so far. Their only loss is on the road. And I think they will beat Matthew Stafford and the Lions, even though Matthew Stafford is the better quarterback. But at the end of the day, Minnesota has the better defense. They're going to be able to run the ball. Detroit can't run the ball at all. They rely on their pass-happy offense with no running game. I think the Vikings will beat the Lions. Now let's go to the next game. You have the Buffalo Bills at the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons will crush the Buffalo Bills. That high-powered offense of running backs and wide receivers and tight end and their decent defense, and it's in Atlanta. I think the Atlanta will win by 17+ at home against the Buffalo Bills. Now let's go to the next game. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Baltimore Ravens bounce back at home and will beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger didn't play really well last week, and I think it will continue. I think they'll make Antonio Brown beat them and then stop everybody else, stop the running game, stop everybody else. Let Antonio Brown have like 15 catches, tackle him. I think Baltimore Ravens will beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now let's go to the Battle of Ohio. You have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. I think the Cincinnati Bengals get their first win and go to 1-3. Cleveland will go to 0-4. I think Cincinnati wins. Cincinnati played good last week, but they choked at the end. So I'm going to take Cincinnati to beat the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. Cincinnati isn't going to be much better, but I think Cincinnati will beat the Cleveland Browns. Now to the next game. You have the Los Angeles Rams at the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys will beat the Rams. The Rams are not going to win many more games this year. I think the Rams might win six games total. They already have 2. I think the Cowboys beat the Rams, led by Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, Des Bryant, Jason Witten, Cole Beasley, and their offense. and the best offensive line, and their defense is better. But I don't know if the Rams could go into Dallas and beat them with Jared Goff and Todd Gurley. I just don't see it happening, so I'm taking the Cowboys. Now to the next game. The Philadelphia Eagles at the LA Chargers. I think the Philadelphia Eagles will beat the Chargers. Chargers, another team that'll be a top 5 pick in the draft coming up in April. I think the Eagles will beat the Chargers. Philip Rivers will have more turnovers than touchdowns again. And at the end of the day, I think the Eagles will beat the Chargers handily. Let's go to the next game. You have the New York Giants, who are the shocker, 0-3 on the season, at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Giants will go to 0-4 on the season as Jameis Winston and the defense and Jameis Winston as the quarterback of the Buccaneers will beat the Giants, who will have too many turnovers, too many penalties, won't be able to run the ball. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers to beat the Giants, and the Giants will go to 0-4. Let's go to the next game. You have the San Francisco 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Arizona Cardinals bounce back, and they beat the 49ers at home, led by Carson Palmer, Larry Fitzgerald, and all the other weapons they have on offense. But their one missing piece, David Johnson, their running back, is out. But I still think the 49ers found a way to lose as the Arizona Cardinals beat the 49ers. Now let's go to the next game. You have the Oakland Raiders at the Denver Broncos. David Carr looked like crap last week against the Redskins. He bounces back even though it's going to be in Denver. Denver has a good defense, but their quarterback is still suspect. And I think at the end of the day, Oakland's David Carr outplays Trevor Siemian, and I think the Oakland Raiders defeat the Denver Broncos. I'm going to go 27-24 Oakland. Now let's go to the Sunday night's game this week. The Indianapolis Colts at the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are not going to lose to the Colts at home. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to trounce the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts without Andrew Luck, they're garbage. They may have won last week because they played Cleveland. Anybody else, they probably would have lost. So I'm going to take the Seahawks at home to beat the Indianapolis Colts. Now to Monday night's game. The Washington Redskins at the Kansas City Chiefs. Washington Redskins played great against Oakland, but it's not going to happen this week. The Kansas City Chiefs with Alex Smith and their running backs and Travis Kelce, their tight end, will beat the Washington Redskins on Monday night at home in Arrowhead. Those are my picks. Let's do a quick recap of my picks for Week 4. Tonight's game, Green Bay Packers will beat the Bears. Sunday's games, Saints will beat the Dolphins. Titans will beat the Texans. Jaguars will beat the Jets. Patriots will beat the Panthers. Vikings will beat the Rams. The Lions, not Rams. Falcons will beat the Bills. Ravens will beat the Steelers. Bengals will beat the Browns. Cowboys will beat the Rams. Eagles will beat the Chargers. Buccaneers will beat the Giants. Cardinals will beat the 49ers. Raiders will beat the Broncos. Seahawks will beat the Colts. And the Chiefs will beat the Redskins. Those are my picks for Week 4. Until next week when I do my picks and my power rankings for Week 4 power rankings and Week 5 picks, I'm Matthew. Enjoy the vlog!